Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this enviolo webinar. This afternoon we're talking with David Hancock, CEO of enviolo, and I would like to kick off with the first question to David.
Okay.
Welcome to this webinar.
Thank you for being here yourself.
Okay. Can you start our time giving a brief introduction of enviolo? And telling me what's new at enviolo.
Sure. Thank you very much. And thank you for everyone for joining us today. I don't know if some attendees have a lot of knowledge about enviolo or a little, so I'll just spend a few minutes kind of getting everybody to a level playing field and telling a little bit of our story. So enviolo has been around for a while. It used to be called Vinci Cycling. It's been around almost 10 years, but when it originally started, it was a division of a U.S. technology company, and that technology company had designed an architecture, had created an invention that could be used in a lot of different applications and a lot of different vehicles, so cars, trucks, and boats, and windmills, and bicycles. And we were a division under that technology company going about building products to put into bicycles. And then if you fast forward now we're a standalone entity that is a full organization that still uses that invention, but we're no longer a division. We are a grown-up company, and we have rebranded ourselves as enviolo as part of that journey. And to let everybody else know a few more parts of our very relevant recent past, about two and a half years ago, we really started spending some time thinking about our identity and who we were. And you and I have interacted through part of that journey a couple of times. And so I'll spend just a few minutes talking about that. About 2.5 years ago, we were looking back at ourselves. We were thinking about who we are and who we want to be. And probably the best way to say it is we knew we had a premium product, but we weren't sure we were a premium brand. We weren't sure we were completely a trusted organization. And we wanted to raise all of our activities, service and warranty and logistics and lead times and quality and all the aspects of a full grown-up organization, not just the division we used to be, but a full organization. We wanted to elevate all those activities to the same premium nature of our product. And so we spent the last 2.5 years doing that, and putting personnel in place, putting goals in place, making promises to customers, making promises to the market. And that was a key part of our last two and a half year journey. And the other part of our last two and a half year journey was sort of taking our product portfolio and turning it upside down. And for a long time, I would say it like this: we spent our time focusing too much on product attributes. And when you're the small guy in the market and you're the newer guy in the market, it's so easy to just fall into this trap of chasing attributes. The competitor has 8 of something, we need 9. They have 2 colors of blue, we need 3. Okay, and so you're constantly running from attribute to attribute. And I think we fell into that trap a little bit. And the people that might be in the webinar who've been associated with us for a long time, they probably remember some of our product names, and they were N330, N330F, N380X. It's because we would change an attribute and add a letter or add a number. Okay, we were in this trap. And so part of this last 2.5 years is we turned that upside down, and we said we want to provide solutions. And so at the same time we were trying to become a premium brand and a trusted organization, we turned our product portfolio upside down, and now we have transmissions called the cargo transmission, the commercial transmission, and we started solving problems. The first transmission for bikes, warranted and used for commercial use, bike sharing, leasing, fleets. The cargo group set, the first one designed for these bikes that might be used by the postal service or might be used for a whole family gets in the bike. And we have other examples, but we really tried to say, what is a need and how can we solve it? And really that fits into also being a premium brand. And so that journey was challenging, because often you want to do what's new, not old new. Mm-hmm. And so it's a little bit of a long answer, but I also want to tell everybody about that journey, because what's new for us is moving from just promising that to actually doing that. And yes, we do have new stuff coming and new products and new team members. But when you say to me or someone else says to me, what's new? The first thing that comes to mind is that journey, that sort of redefining journey that we have been through the last 2.5 years. And I believe we've been mostly successful. You can always do better and do more, but the marketplace has rewarded us for elevating our brand and keeping our promises with 3 years of fantastic sales growth, which is also energizing to us. So there's an introduction, a little bit about who we are, who we have been, and how the question of what's new is partly what's old that's no longer a promise, but now part of our identity. Okay. So I'll let you get into your other questions now.
Well, you stipulated a lot of topics we're going to discuss for the next hour, I think. I'm sure questions will come up among the participants of this webinar. So please, people, if you have any question to David, please post your question, and they will appear on my screen here on my laptop, and then I'll ask them directly to David.
Great.
But there was one thing you mentioned during your introduction. I want to first dig in a little bit deeper. The change of the name, because that's for the outside world. That's always a very big thing.
Yes.
That's when I interviewed you on the name change.
Yes.
At the Taichung Bike Week in 2017. Yes. I was quite surprised to hear that, because that's really a big thing.
Yes.
How did the market respond on that name change?
Well, I believe the market has responded well. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of resources, took time, it took consistency on our part. But that name change, as we talked about back then in November, was more to create clarity back up into our parent organization, more than it was to go down into the cycling industry. And so you're right, it might have seemed like a step backwards in the cycling industry. We had a proven name, and now we're going to move back and start with a new one. But going up into our organization, the problem was we were known as Da Vinci Cycling, and the technology was known as Da Vinci Technology, but the technology applied to industries other than the bike industry. So we had a lot of confusion back up into our parent company. So that's a little bit of why. But how has the market responded? The market has responded well, and we've greatly simplified our branding as well too. And so our marketing personnel over the last 2 years have done a fantastic job. And I'll say one more thing back to the previous topic. It also provided a bit of an anchor for this organization as we started making those goals and commitments about we want to be a premium organization, we want to be a trusted organization, we want to have more solutions and less attributes. When you put that big flag in the ground and say we're changing our name, I think it's easier for the organization to start changing their mindset. So it also served us well in that journey, even though it necessitated a lot of reprinted material and a lot of
and also on the products you have to rebrand everything.
Yes. Yeah. So it was not. It wasn't easy.
I wouldn't say
it wasn't easy.
It's certainly not easy.
It was not for the lazy people to do it. But we are very happy.
It gives you the opportunity to change everything in your organization.
It was a new chapter, is the words we used back then.
Yeah.
But it was also something to bind our team together.
Yeah.
And put our own identity out, separate from our parent company's identity.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned the word chapter, and maybe I'll also come now on a little bit more positive time during the past 2.5 years. Chapter 11 position.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about that?
Sure. That was a tough time. That was we meaning our parent company and us, went into what's called Chapter 11 bankruptcy restructuring, and a little bit of a definition on that. That is a U.S. Legal mechanism to allow companies to restructure, usually to restructure the interactions between any debt holders, any investors, and their board. And it is not insolvency, it is not liquidation, it is a restructuring of that investor board level. And it's scary sounding, it's scary feeling, it was scary for our customers, it was scary for our team. I think it also helped bind our team together. There was the name change, there was the reprioritization of being a premium brand, there was this difficult, stressful time.
Yeah.
I think it also brought us together. But the second interview you and I did, the digital one, you helped us carry some information to the marketplace about what will our Chapter 11 mean or not mean. And when we did that discussion, the message I had was nothing's going to change. Between us and our relationship with the market, nothing's going to change. Things are going to change at our board level, our investor level, our debt holder level, but our products are going to be the same lead time, same prices, same warranty, same colors, same staff selling them, same lead time on the phone, same. And this is tough to say, but maybe it was a blessing. Maybe it was a blessing. Even though it was a stressful time. Because here we are wanting to be a trusted organization. And there was a stressful time in the marketplace, felt some anxiety, and we did everything we said we were going to do. Well, we had a chance to prove that we are trustworthy. And so I don't recommend going through it again. But it is far behind us. It is basically never brought up in our organization. It's never really brought up in our customer interactions. And I do know it made us a better team and a better organization to go through it.
And that was in Chapter 11.
Okay.
Well, it's good to hear that everything ran well now, and that all the problems were solved, which were, of course, there were problems which were causing the Chapter 11.
We have a brand new board and a brand new investor group that are very excited about urban mobility and excited about e-bikes and excited about enviolo.
Well, then I also see some questions coming in on market and very specific market, and I think we're going to talk about that later as well. So if you have more questions on specific segments, specific markets, please drop your questions to ask David. But the next question we would like to talk about as well is products.
Okay.
What can we expect? Because everybody who participates in this webinar knows your enviolo products.
Yes. But
what can we expect in let's say, for next year, or maybe looking ahead a little bit further into the future?
Okay. Well, I hope that we continue to focus on solutions and not little attributes. And we will do well sometimes, and maybe sometimes we'll get sucked into that trap of focusing on attributes. But the biggest news we have on new products is our automatic shifting system has gotten a complete overhaul. Our newest automatic shifting system will be coming out later this year. It is completely different designers, different products, different everything. It's wireless. It's incredibly unique. It's a bit of a radical product. It's currently under embargo right now at enviolo and at our launch partners. And we've been telling them all last week they can't talk about it publicly, and so I'm not.
And how are you going to talk about it publicly?
But I'll give a few clues.
Okay.
What is probably my favorite part of this product? Well, two things. The ride experience is amazing. But what is probably my favorite part of it is that it can be an independent product and stand on its own and provide a great ride experience. And it also can be a platform for third parties to interact with and control our system, whether those are Internet of Things, wearables, whether that is an e-bike drivetrain, whether that is some other input on an e-bike, some other smart componentry. And so it'll operate independently, but it also is just an open platform for integration. And that is an untapped part of the e-bike industry right now. An e-bike is still a collection of independent components. Some of them are getting smarter and some of them are talking to each other, but basically it's a collection of independent components. And we want to be a leader in bringing some of the more unique components together and collaborating. And so that's probably the most special part of this product. It's coming out later this year. There will be, I believe, 6 or 7 launch partners this year. And that's I probably said more than I was supposed to. But I am excited about it, and thank you for asking.
But later this year, we're talking about Eurobike.
Yes.
Okay, that's the introduction moment. You have your introduction moment there as well.
Yes, through our launch partners, because we don't make the vehicle. And so we will have this much of the message and they'll have this much
of course, but you will exhibit at Eurobike.
Yes.
And people can see the new product there and can maybe see products of your launching partners as well on your booth.
You will
as well.
see us through our launch partners.
Yeah.
We want to put attention on the whole vehicle
Yeah.
and the ride experience. And so we won't be putting attention on our booth, we'll be putting attention on their booths.
There's one question coming in on one of those specific segments, but a very important segment, which is getting a lot of attention at the moment, and which has got a big potential. But how does enviolo expect the cargo e-bike market to develop, and will there be more specific products coming up for this segment?
Yes, the cargo e-bike market is on fire, and if you asked me this 6 months ago, I would have said we've done this great job in getting out in front of the market and having the first cargo group set. We can take so much more weight on our product than the competition. We can take so much more weight than is really needed on the product. We're going to be a market leader. And that was 6 months ago. The market's growing so fast that we're having to go back and add functionality to our product to get out in front of it again. That product is, that market is, it was 200 kilos and it was 250 kilos and it was 300 kilos. And now we're seeing so many different other vehicles being displaced by e-cargo bikes, postal, and family and last mile and so many other use cases that used to be done in the automobile type of device.
Yeah.
That we are thrilled with our cargo group set, but it's going to be a priority for us to put an even more robust product out to catch the next wave. I think a lot of people know the whole postal system is being disrupted, and some of the Alibabas and the Amazons of the world are actually getting into their own delivery and rethinking what does transportation, especially the last 2 miles or the last 3 miles, mean. And that opens up so much opportunity for our industry and our company. That I think e-cargo is exciting and somewhat unpredictable right now. But I think the future is very, very, very bright.
And what is the unpredictable part of that e-cargo bike?
I believe there will be needs, transportation needs, that the current e-cargo bikes being made and the current components like us that are supplying those e-cargo bikes won't fit initially into the use case. And so if the market doesn't adapt, if the OEMs don't build the right vehicles, and if we don't build the right components, someone else will fill that need with some other type of moving vehicle, moving thing. And the idea of driving around a large truck with lots of small packages on a long route is being disrupted with a lot of smaller vehicles taking less trips in a more meaningful way. And if you read, there's actually a report came out from McKinsey in the last just few weeks about how the Amazons of the world are just rethinking delivery. And it's not the old concept of there's a lorry with a bunch of parts that goes down to a UPS truck with a bunch of parts that takes a lot of routes. It is a lot of micro routes. And to give you an example, if our market can't provide the right solutions, Amazon's going to look at drones. Okay, so somebody has to fill the need, and we have to provide solutions, not focus on attributes. And this actually applies to the OEMs too. OEMs listening to this that are making those bikes, we need to give them the right transmission. They need to solve the right problems of the Alibabas of the world too.
Do you think that the bicycle industry responds quickly enough on this development? Because Amazon is a very big player.
Yeah, and there are regional Amazons as well too.
Right now.
Cool Blue is doing great things in the Netherlands with one of our favorite OEMs, and our transmissions on every single one of them. So there are regional successes for this industry. To answer your question, I don't know. I think the bike industry goes through ups and downs of being responsive and being agile. We seem to be in a more agile time right now. The e-bike industry could have really started getting commoditized a few years ago, but you haven't seen the average price come down. You've seen functionality go up and creativity go up. You've seen who would have thought of an e-mountain bike when we first started talking about this. And so the market has done okay at being agile and being creative, but they're going to get really tested right now.
Of course, because the customer base for this market is completely different.
They're going to go find
mountain bikes.
That's right. That's right. And they're going to find a solution for their transportation needs where their e-bike makers can make it or not.
Yeah.
They may get the first shot or the second shot,
And then,
but they won't wait around.
no, that's right.
Yeah.
Or you want to look for other suppliers.
Yes. But you know what? I would take opportunity coming to our industry any day, even if it's difficult to figure out what to do.
Mhm.
Isn't it a great place to be to have all this opportunity coming to us?
There was one more question coming in on products. Automatic stepless gear transmission will soon be available, integrated in the engine of the bike. How does that challenge the change of the enviolo strategy?
Sure. At its fundamental level, a CVT, which is what we make, constant variable transmission, is always at threat by highly efficient motor systems that can do power conversions and power inversions. A Tesla doesn't use a transmission. Okay, a Tesla just sends power to those motors and makes them spin fast or slow. Okay, and so the motors act as the transmission as well as the propulsion. Okay, so the same concept could be introduced into an e-bike. It will always be a threat for anybody that uses a transmission, including us. However, the difference is on a Tesla, which doesn't have a transmission, your legs are not attached to the wheels. Okay,
Yeah.
and here they are sort of indirectly. So there are some problems to solve between the ratio of the pedals, the amount of energy you want to put in, and so it is a threat. If we're making a SWAT for enviolo, we're making a SWAT for SRAM or Shimano's transmission business, all of us would have that down in the threat corner, right? But there's still some technical challenges there. And so the best way I like to answer the question is, somebody says, well, Tesla doesn't use a transmission, could bikes the same way? I'm like, yeah, but your feet aren't attached to the wheels in a Tesla.
Yeah, okay, that's it. That's the big challenge for the years ahead.
Yeah.
The technical challenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is something we monitor.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions coming in there, ladies and gentlemen? Please mail them to us. Oh, there's one more as well.
Okay.
What can you do to make the enviolo hub as famous as Roloff?
Well, that's an interesting.
You haven't mentioned the word in your previous question.
Yeah, I'm not mentioning the big blue competitor out there. Rohloff is a great company, especially for us to idolize and for us to hope to have brand recognition. So they've been around for a long time, and they're famous for consistency, famous for quality. And when I talk about this 2.5-year journey to make ourselves not just a premium product, but a premium organization, I think they're a great example. And also, I want competitive products that brings up the coolness of transmissions and the willingness to pay for transmissions. Well, those guys do it great. So every single time they get a spec and we don't get a spec, we still celebrate, because it is going the opposite direction of commoditizing a transmission. It's going into premium functionality. And I want more focus on premium functionality, solving problems. And just because our functionality isn't the same as their functionality doesn't mean I can't hope they win more and more, because that is the uncommoditization of transmissions. And as well as they say what they're going to do, and they do what they say, and they do it the same every time.
And they have a very strong audience as well.
Yes, and fanatic audience.
And fanatic audience,
So yes, I would like to be Rohloff in some ways, but not in functionality. We'll be our own way of functionality.
But in a sense, you see them as an example.
You
regard them as an example brand.
And less of a competitor. They bring up the industry. They say, how can we really push what's possible on the riding experience? They just do it very differently than we do it. We do it in our direction, they do it in their direction, but both of us are taking a maybe boring cycling experience and raising it to an exciting cycling experience.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. There's another one coming in. We are a retail organization. I'm very curious to know who that is, because we don't have that many in the industry, but we are a retail organization and have experienced a huge improvement in customer service, response times, and spare parts availability with enviolo. What have you changed in enviolo, and how are you going to sustain that positive momentum? Maybe you
Thank
know,
you.
Maybe you know.
Thank
Maybe you know who's
I
asking
don't.
this question.
I don't.
Okay. Okay.
And we're definitely not perfect. We actually have a television downstairs in our service area that every single comment after every single customer service ticket
Yep.
goes up on the screen, and some of them are red and some of them are green. So thank you to whoever said that, and I'm glad that we have earned your respect and trust on that. I think that goes back to the story I was telling about the last 2.5 years trying to elevate our organization, and we have added staff, we've added resources, we've added safety stock, we've added software, we've added a lot to try to let that be someone's reality, and we have done it instead of looking at regional expansion. Interesting things are going on in France. Interesting things are going on in the UK. We could have gone, but we decided to get better here in the German and Dutch-speaking markets before we went and tried to be good in another market. And so where the last part of that question is how are you going to sustain that? And we will start expanding into France and other European markets in the next 2 years, and that will test that. So
if the system still works
or do we regress because we get too focused on expansion? And so it'll be a test for our leadership, especially our service leadership, to make sure and maintain that experience while we go out, and we can't go too fast out and lose sight of what we're finally now doing very, very well. So there's a balancing act to that. Definitely.
Okay, you mentioned about the TV screen downstairs with the red and the red and the green remarks. I suppose the percentage of greens have gone up. Can you say something about that service level? Because I think that's a good indication on how people experience your answer on your previous question.
So we put knowledgeable people in that speak a lot of languages. At the same time, we put software and tools in that gives us very accurate feedback. So that TV, not only does it have the comments that come through, it has average hold time, it has how many open tickets there are, it has length of time until the first response, the last response, it has a complete interactive dashboard, which is great. It's a great tool, but if we didn't have talented people, all you do is just have a bunch of red on the screen. But if you have a bunch of talented people, but you don't know what the workload is, then also they don't have direction. So it was the combination of adding talented people and training them well, adding a lot of language skills, and then processes. So it was a combination of the two, tools and people.
Okay. Can you say something more about the people, about the staff that was involved in in the change in the past 2.5 years?
So we created a brand new department. We called it the Brand Experience Department. And it has our marketing team under it, and it has all of our customer experience, customer service people under it. And we rechanged the way we think of marketing. And marketing for us is no longer advertising or a tagline or a logo or color. Marketing is telling the industry what we do and reinforcing the experience you have with us. And so all those people in that room that are providing great customer service, they become the marketing content for the marketing team. The fact that the response times are low, the fact that we have multilingual support, the fact that we have great education has now become our marketing message. And there was 2 people organizationally that were promoted into that new area, Billy and Richard, that are quite a bit. Actually, there's 3. There's another one in the room right now with us who's promoted into that area, Bart, who were part of the architects of that strategy. And I don't know what to say. They're great. They're humble. They're hardworking. They're smart. It's often more exciting to think about going and conquering the French e-bike market than to go improve your hold time from 3 minutes to 1 minute. It's more exciting to go do the big thing, the big shiny new thing, but we're asking people to instead do the right thing for our current customer base. And so there's an element of humility in putting your ego aside to work in making customer service better. And we had some good people doing that. Definitely.
It's good to hear that you have a good team.
Yes, very much so. And also during the tough times of a Chapter 11, it's nice to be surrounded by people you really like working with.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Good stuff. For
Yes,
sure,
yes,
for sure.
yes.
And also about the big thing you just mentioned, new markets. You already mentioned France.
Mhm.
Is that your main growth market, or was that just an example? Or are you targeting different markets, marketing countries?
Yeah, we will sort of draw a circle outside of our core markets right now, and the Benelux and the top area. And so that'll be some Scandinavia, it'll be some France and some UK. Probably the most interesting market we're following is the French market right now, both in terms of e-bike growth and the average price of the e-bike as well too. There's good things going on in Italy and Spain as well too, but the average bike price is high in those countries when it comes to an urban use e-bike, a commuting e-bike. So it'll probably be Scandinavia and France next, but we hope to be also smart about it. If the market's moving one way or another way, we hope to react well. But back to the other point, we can't let what we're doing in our core markets regress or suffer. This has to be incremental to enviolo, to positive news.
Yeah.
It can't be a distraction.
Of course.
I guess.
Yeah. You have to keep up your service levels as they are right now for your existing customer base before you continue to expand to new markets and new segments. Because are there specific segments, or you just mentioned you talked about the cargo bike or the other categories, which are in that sense which have a bigger, more potential for you than others?
It helps that e-bike systems are getting more powerful all the time, because our system inherently handles power well. It shifts under load and it handles power well. So that's a trend in multiple segments that is good for us. And I think other than the natural e-bike trend of the premium e-bikes, which are getting more and more powerful, it would be the commercial use bikes. That could be bike share, bike rental, bike leasing, even things like swap feeds, where the bike maker needs that bike to be durable. We're really great at durability. And so the whole commercial side is a great segment for us. And then cargo, obviously, it needs to be durable as well too.
Yeah.
So we will be following the industry where there's a lot of power, where there's a lot of weight, where there's a lot of torque, because that's what we do well, and where people need great urban cycling experiences. I don't think you're going to see us be in a performance segment anytime soon because of our physical size and our weight.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not our sweet spot.
No. Okay. That's clear. And what you told me before, the shared bike market is very important for you.
Yes.
And you see that as one of the key potential markets for you as well?
Yes. We have conquered a few major international cities where we've been able to partner with the regional authorities and the bike share operator, and we have 100% of the specification in Zurich, Oslo, Mainz, New York, San Francisco, Boston, a handful of great iconic cities, but there's also several hundred great other cities in the world. So we have just cracked the tip of that potential. But we have several nice wins in our pocket.
In your pocket already. Okay. I've got one question. Maybe a potential UK customer for you. So maybe as a small utility bike manufacturer in the UK, we're passionate about enviolo since 2011. When will you be able to support us as an OEM?
Okay, well, it probably depends on what support means. Does support mean shipping product? We can do that right now. Does support mean training, putting training programs and putting a warehouse for service in the UK? I don't know. So support is a bit of a general word. I would just encourage this company to get in touch with our business development group. There is one person in our business development group that interacts with OEMs that aren't in the core regions where we offer the most support. So she helps them navigate being an enviolo partner in an area where there's just not as much enviolo resources. So they're a little bit more on an island. Okay.
And what is her name?
Her name is Monique.
Okay.
So it is harder if you're not in our core markets, because if you're in Germany and you have a problem and you call, someone will speak German and the part will be there in a day.
Yeah.
But if you called from
the UK,
if you call from South Africa, well, I guess you speak Dutch to them.
of course.
But,
Or you speak English to them.
Yeah,
so that's not a problem.
But so there are areas where we're just not as efficient in.
Of course.
Yeah, but
I suppose
Monique has experience with some people in Italy who also aren't in a core market, but find a way to be an enviolo OEM, and so she'll have some ideas to help. So yes, please reach out to us. You can reach out at orders.enviolo or support.enviolo, either one.
Okay, and one more question, Chris from Hughes. How can we help you as a retail chain to convince even more OEMs to use your products?
Chris, I live in Amsterdam. Let's have coffee. I want to hear every idea you have, and I have some of my own. But in reality, we both want the same thing: better bikes, better solutions for consumers, more consistent bikes. And I think that it's tricky to sometimes take that triangle of the dealer retailer, the component manufacturer, and the OEM decision makers, and to have more than a coffee conversation. It's easy to have a coffee conversation.
Yeah.
It's hard to drive behavior. And I would say start with your retail development personnel you interact with, which would be Martijn, Richard, and Bart in that area. They also want to use the voice of our closest retailers to be influencers at the OEM. I would say start there, but I'm also serious. I'd be happy to meet with any retailer that loves enviolo or even hates enviolo and listen to the ideas they have. But the juices of the world can be a more powerful voice for any premium component maker, because sometimes there is some hesitation by the OEM to put higher priced, more premium components on bikes, because if they don't sell, there's this fear. And so sometimes the OEM is a little afraid of doing new and bold things.
Yeah.
But if the retailer is saying, no, I can sell it,
Yeah.
I can sell it, then I think that adds a credibility story. So I don't have a great answer other than I would love to help figure it out and collaborate with that.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
I think that's a great answer. Okay, another question from Emmanuel from Moustache in France.
Yes.
Probably you know him as well.
Yes.
I already noticed more willingness to help from your service team, which you told about Italy and the UK as well. But when are we finally able to speak to somebody in your service in French?
Well, Emmanuel and I have been on a journey together that usually ends in that question, and it's a difficult question. I think he understands that we don't want to hurt our Germanic and Dutch service levels just for the sake of expanding to France, but we can't wait forever to expand to France and just be focusing on the Germanic and Dutch markets. And so there's that balance. And I would say this, we have, Emmanuel, you saw one of the other pieces of feedback two or three questions ago saying, you're so much easier to do business with now. Okay. So we're getting there. There was actually some third-party validation. We're getting there. We're getting comfortable with our tools and our processes. And I would say that the next introduction of capabilities into our service will be to support the French market. I'm going to not give an exact date for that, but my point is that the next languages we hire, the next material we translate into, the next training capabilities that we add will be the French. I guess I shouldn't say for sure.
Is it 2020? Is it 2021?
Yes.
It is 2020.
Yeah. It's sooner rather than later. And so I guess if France goes into a massive recession and everyone in Portugal starts riding a $4,000 e-bike, I have the right to change my mind.
Of course.
But what's going on in the French market is really remarkable on the e-bike side. And actually, Emmanuel gets a lot of the credit for that. He was an early early adopter, and of e-bikes, and it's just the numbers that come out of France every year. Sometimes you almost think, is this a misprint? Is it really? Is it? It's amazing what's going on in France in urban mobility. It's very exciting, and we've noticed.
We published the French market results 2 weeks ago on the website. And it's not the first year 2018.
It's not the first time we went wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But maybe brands like Moustache, they will have to do make an additional step to keep up the competition, because because they have to deal with a very big supplier in France.
Yes.
Big retail chain / manufacturer.
Yes.
So they have to do a good job.
Yeah, but that's where the partnerships, and I talked about our new product is very partner centric. The big retailer / supplier generally is going middle of the market down.
Yeah.
And that creates opportunity for differentiation for the guys like Moustache, who also have brand recognition on that differentiation, and we can help them differentiate. It really, the Moustaches of the world need us to just decide on a certain day when we're going to educate the channel, answer the phone in French, and have any part there within 2 days if there's a problem.
Okay. And so, well, Emmanuel, in 2020, there will be somebody on the phone answering your questions.
Oh man! Now I'm stuck.
You're stuck. Okay.
All right. Good.
Just mentioned about the new product. You came back on it, but there's a question: when will you be licensing your Nuvintia technology to Bosch? A remarkable question, I think.
Well, there are several ways to do that. It could be a license. It could be a collaborative product.
Yeah.
It could be collaborative marketing. I would. I don't know. Bosch is by far the market leader. Every time I think Bosch might be taking a break and the competition catches up with them, they actually get farther ahead. And it is an amazing example of business execution and innovation, but doing both. They provide a safe environment where they will take care of their customers while they're innovating on the product side. They're a great example of that. I know the leaders at Bosch e-bike well. Our new automatic system, I told you, is much easier to communicate with from third parties. So we'll see. They are the most complementary product to our product right now.
Yeah.
When you put a Bosch on a bike and you put an enviolo on a bike, you have a great experience. It is the most complementary products on e-bikes. So it makes sense for us to think about how we can work together
more closely. Yeah. Okay, but that's something different than licensing.
Yes, possibly. Yeah. It could be working on product collaboration, or it could be working on licensing. The advantage of product collaboration is it lets them be the experts on the drivetrain and us be the experts on the transmission and look for the connection points.
Yeah.
Licensing becomes more into integration, which always slows things down. And so let them be experts at what they do, let us be experts at what we do, and look at those connection points.
And as long as the two connections work together very well, then the system works great.
The consumer doesn't care if it's licensed or not. They just want it to be great integrated.
They want it to be of course. One question to come back on servers in countries which are not your core markets right now. This one comes from Canada, so that's why I'm putting it on the table. It's very specific because that's not your core market, but he's retailing products with your products, and he wants to know how to get training from enviolo to support service of your products.
Okay, so back to the same message of we want to do our core markets great before we expand into the bolt-on markets. Right now, that would only be through digital tools. We have an interactive website where you can ask questions and get answers. We also would be willing to do personalized webinar training, but that would not be a market where we would send somebody in to do training. But we have also had very closed audience webinars where we get 2 or 3 requests like that for service training. Yeah. And we invite 2 or 3 people. It's not an advertised webinar like this. It's very specific, and we're happy to do that.
So it's made to measure for specific customers.
Yeah. But that person would also need to realize that things like calling us to get a replacement part is going to take longer, so they would probably need to carry their own safety stock. Unlike here in Holland, someone doesn't have to carry their own safety stock. We'll have it there in a day. So there's just going to be a different relationship there. But we would, if someone wants to work with us, we want to work with them.
But he's retailing brands from Europe as well, bike brands from Europe. So in that sense, he's used to work with the long distance shipping.
If something were to have a problem or be the wrong part, we can't have it there tomorrow.
Of course not.
And if it's in Utrecht,
we
can.
So of course. One question from René Busser from Bike Shop in Nijmegen in the Netherlands. We enjoy your retail trainings a lot and think you are setting the example in the bike industry. Fantastic compliment, I think. Do you have more plans to expand the scope of your trainings to more non-technical trainings and help us to better upsell customers to enviolo bikes?
Man, what a great question. So I'm going to start with a compliment, reinforcing his first compliment. I was actually having a one-on-one. I twice a year try to have a one-on-one with everybody in the organization. We keep growing, it's getting harder, it's taking more time, but I was having a one-on-one with the individual who has been in dealer training the longest at enviolo. He's the papa of dealer training, okay? And we're actually done with our one-on-one. I hope it's okay, I'm sharing this story, but this is last week on Friday, and he's driving me to the train station in Zwolle so I can go home, and I looked at him and I said, you do know, don't you, that when someone attends one of your trainings, they forget they have a phone. They never check it. They're leaning this far forward in their seat. And they tell all their friends, well, I thought it was just going to be boring and I had to go to check a box for continuing education, but that was amazing. I was brought into the product. We and our staff, and there's one of them sitting in the room here with us right now, we're really good at this. They are really good at this, and they speak all these languages, and they're amazing, and people love our trainings. So I want to compliment our organization on that and reinforce what he said. We are working on expanding that curriculum to not be so technical and have some what do we call it? Selling tips, some consultatory selling training. That is probably going to require different people in our organization, or training our existing people a little bit differently. And so it doesn't happen overnight. But we recognize that our training has been overly technical, even though it's been great, and we would like it to be broader.
Yeah, but what May is suggesting is trainings to be more of the product.
Yes.
But away from the product.
Yes, and why this bike meets someone's needs.
Yeah,
not how the freewheel works or something like this. Yeah. And what's interesting is that the answer to that question is also some educational curriculum that we could take to OEM's sales reps as well too. Yeah. So the same skill set, we actually could use it at a different place in the channel. We could use it at Renee's place, and we could also use it at the people that sell to Renee.
Of course.
And so that's a huge opportunity for us to improve.
Of course. And to come back on the question from the guy in Amsterdam, for Jews, how can you be, because those trainings will
and then that actually closes the full circle.
So because those trainings will provide you the information to go back to the OEMs.
And the influence.
That's why people want
absolutely. That's recognizing the opportunity is much easier than executing on the opportunity.
Oh, of course. Okay. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of interesting questions coming on, so I think we can keep on talking, because we have a lot of questions. Why is it not possible for B2Bs to backlog activities?
Why is it not possible for
the B2B business to backlog
activities? I don't guess I understand the question.
Okay. Well, maybe we can ask the person who asked this question to elaborate a little bit more, to explain what his question exactly is.
Is that service requests? Is that shipping requests?
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Maybe just rewrite the question a little bit more.
And explain a little bit more what you exactly mean with the question.
Okay.
David, the first time we met, you mentioned that you want to establish with at that time with the name change to enviolo, that you wanted to become the moving standard.
Ambitious statement.
That's a very ambitious statement. Well, that's 2.5 years ago now. How far are you in establishing to become the moving standard, or what is your plan ahead for the years?
Yeah, I think the answer on the success would depend on the segment and the audience. You've heard from some retailers that want more enviolo, so they view us at least as a high standard.
Yeah.
I believe that we help OEMs increase their average bike selling price and their profit per bike because we create a higher willingness to pay.
Yeah.
A consumer rides our bike versus another bike and they say, I'll pay more for that.
Yeah.
And it still feels like they're getting value. Okay.
Yeah.
And so are we the moving standard for €4.99 Dutch Stadfiets?
Yeah.
No.
So I think you have to explain that the Stadsfiets is a city bike.
Yes.
Because
yes.
otherwise there's a part of the audience
Yes.
who don't understand. Or an urban bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Sorry.
and so it depends on the audience, depends on the segment,
Mhm.
but also we intentionally left that vague. We didn't say the best product. See, when you say the moving standard, that is getting it to you on time, fixing if it breaks, answering the phone if you have a question, packaging it well, short lead times, educating the channel, technical training. So see, we intentionally left that vague
Yeah.
because, back to the opening statement, we felt like we had a premium product, but we weren't yet a premium organization. And so I've been thrilled that we've been speaking a lot today about things other than our products.
Of course. Yeah.
That thrills me. So maybe that's part of the answer. We are on our way to being a moving standard, not just a product standard. Based on the content of these questions,
Yeah.
we're at least having some success on that journey.
Well, a standard is of course also how are other parties, suppliers in the market, perceiving your product, your organization, and they want to copy it or elements of that. That's
Well,
a
they
standard as well.
also could raise the standard, and our standard can no longer be the standard.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's also
An exchange of.
it's fluid as well too. Yeah, it moves around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if any other questions are coming in. That's a nice one as well. You took a huge step in your BX department. I don't understand.
That's the brand experience
The
department,
brand experience. Okay.
which also handles customer service.
Okay. So that's an important part of your face outside to the market. When are you modernizing your systems to allow us ordering online as an OEM and get more control on the supply chain / the lead times? And I know that's a very tricky question always in the bicycle industry.
Yeah.
What about the lead times? Maybe we should.
Split it in two. Split it in two.
Ordering online, isn't it?
So we have launched in the last year an online ordering system for retailers. Okay, for dealers and retailers, for spare parts, for after sales.
Yeah.
So that will be the platform we use for online ordering for OEMs. The problem is OEMs often have their own proprietary sort of ordering system, their different ERP systems. And a lot of them don't want to order in our system, they want to order in their system. And so trying to make all that squished together sometimes is challenging. But we have laid the foundation with our online dealer ordering system to expand it. So it's something we're looking at, but there's no promises there, but it's on our radar. The second part of the question.
Sorry, on the radar, but it's not, you can't give a time path.
No.
Okay, that's too far.
Because, for example, a big publicly traded OEM is not going to use our online ordering portal. They're going to use their Oracle, Sage, MRP solution.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's going to have that much reach to all of our customers. So on our radar means we're monitoring it, we're talking about it, but we haven't committed to that.
Okay. Then the second part of the get more control of the supply chain / lead times.
So I'm not sure I understand if that's a complaint or a compliment, but I'll say this. Our lead times over the last 5 years have been 30 days to shipment. Now they ship from Asia, so you got another 30 days on the water. And that is very fast in this industry to be able to ship 30 days. We do have it, now that we have 5 different group sets, 2 of our group sets now have a 60-day lead time. So our lead times have grown a little bit. So this might be a comment saying, hey, when can you get them back to 30? I don't know if we ever will. 60 is still lightning fast for this industry. So if that is a criticism, then by all means, call your BD person, and we'll work to try to accommodate your needs.
Yeah.
But most OEMs really enjoy the fact that we have first 30 and now 60-day lead times, because their frames and their e-bike motors are in months.
Yeah. But can they monitor during those 60 days what's happening with them?
No, they will know. Yeah, that's what the question. It may be a transparency question.
Yeah. What's happening during those 60 days? Is it really coming in 60 days? Because he wants to know between the moment of ordering and the moment of that it's put on his doorstep, week or a day before that's being put on his doorstep, he wants to know, is it really coming or not?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
that actually makes sense, because they were also talking about tools, systems and IT tools in the first part of the question.
Yep.
That is actually something I think we could implement pretty easily. At least a few gates. The date the order was put in at the factory. We already acknowledged that. The date it gets on a boat out of Asia. The date it hits Rotterdam or wherever. Okay, so maybe not where it is every moment, but maybe 2 or 3 big milestones along that journey.
Yeah.
I think that is something we should look to implement, and that would provide. Well, I told you early on.
And information is getting more and more important. That sort of information.
And a lot of the logistics companies now have ways to access that information much more easily now.
So people are used to it.
Yes.
They're familiar with it. They're used to it, so they expect it from you as well.
Cool Blue riding around bikes with our products, but they also have set the standard there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But it's for consumer products. But exactly, that's what a lot of people see. That's right. Right. Okay. We're more or less coming to a close of this webinar.
Okay.
Well, I've got one pressing question.
Okay.
I really want you to have an answer on it.
All right, I'm ready.
What's next for enviolo?
What's next? I think I've touched on a lot of that, but
what's next? You've touched on what happened in the past 2.5 years. You talked about new markets, new products.
Yeah,
but it's the markets that's still a little bit ahead. Products are of course you're busy working on the introduction right now. What's next?
Well, I'm gonna speak maybe really high level. Be a great place to work. Inspire people that work here. Be a good investment for our investors. Be a trusted organization. And by the way, I've been speaking so much about trusted organization down into the industry, but we also want to be a trusted organization to our board.
Yeah.
And that's part of my job. To be an inspiring place to work. If we're an inspiring place to work, we're going to make inspiring products. And there's so much opportunity. We talk about the opportunity. Yeah. So I think it comes back to build and keep a great team. Make innovative products that solve problems. Don't focus on the little attributes. Expand carefully and cautiously and smartly into new regions. But also just do the boring stuff well. Answer the phone. Ship it on time. Yeah. Order it in blue. Make sure it's blue. We don't have to offer it in blue. But just do what you say. Keep your promises. Yeah. And so I guess that's part of why it feels like a boring answer. But that's also part of what we want to be is consistent. So what's new is many more of the same, but with probably a little bit more collaborative products. We talked about interconnectivity and we talked about integration. We talked about Bosch. We talked about some other things. Yeah. We would like to be a little bit more integrated onto the e-bike and less an isolated component in the e-bike.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a nice way to conclude this webinar. I would like to thank all the participants for joining us in this webinar with David Hancock, CEO of enviolo.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks very much.
Nice
for
to
your time.
see you again.
And thanks
Thank
for,
you to all the participants.
And thanks for submitting all the interesting questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.